Hollywood in 2025 looks like a domino chain collapsing in slow motion. Shows getting cancelled before the season even ends, franchises bleeding out in real time, box office numbers that would have ended careers 20 years ago. Now they're just Tuesday. And what's crazy is that none of this would have happened in the 80s or the 90s. Today I'm breaking down 3 of the biggest failures trending right now, and what the old Hollywood knew that modern studios clearly forgot. The Acolyte, dead for over a year, cancelled after 1 season despite a $230 million budget. But this week, showrunner Leslie Headland finally broke her silence.
Arguably the gayest Star Wars, I think, by a considerable margin. And
Instead of taking responsibility, she blamed YouTubers, called Star Wars content creators fascists and racist, and claimed commentary channels killed her show. In the 80s, this wouldn't have happened because studios had gatekeepers who actually understood story, development executives who could read a script and say, no, before millions got wasted. Producers who'd been in the trenches, who knew what worked because they'd seen 1,000 scripts fail. The system filtered out projects that had no chance before they came $230 million disasters. The Acolyte earned its 19% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. It earned its 3.2 on Metacritic. It earned its cancellation. Headland wants you to believe critics tanked her show, but the show tanked itself. 0 audience retention week to week, no memorable characters, storylines that made no sense, dialogue that felt written by someone who'd never actually watched Star Wars. And when fans pointed this out, Disney called them toxic. Compare that to how Lucas built Star Wars. 1 movie, Luke, Vader, Han, Leia. Characters so iconic they've lasted 40 years. He didn't need a $230 million budget or a streaming platform. He needed a story people cared about. Disney's approach? Spend $250 million, ignore what made Star Wars work, and when it fails, blame everyone else. Then have the showrunners call the critics fascist a year later. Lucas built icons. Disney builds excuses.
by a considerable.
The Witcher Season 4. Netflix's nearly billion-dollar fantasy franchise stumbling towards the finish line. Henry Cavill left. Liam Hemsworth is taking over as Geralt. And the audience? Gone. The show just dropped October 30th and it's already getting the lowest Rotten Tomatoes score of the series. Trailers getting downvoted into oblivion. Even the hardcore fans are saying, I'm out. Here's what the 80s understood. The actor was the hero. You didn't recast Schwarzenegger in Terminator 2 with Bruce Willis, or Ted Danson, or Steven Seagal with an Austrian accent. The actor and the character were fused. That's what made them iconic. Cavill walked away because of creative differences. Reports surfaced that the writers on The Witcher actively mocked the source material, the books and the games that Cavill was trying to honor. Former writer Beau DeMayo confirmed some writers actively disliked Sapkowski's work. Cavill constantly pushed for Geralt to become more book accurate, more philosophical. He refused to sign a new contract and walked.
So do you correct people?
I don't necessarily. I am effusive about being loyal to the source material. Let's put it that way.
When your lead actor, who loves the source material, quits because the writers hate it, you've got a problem. Modern streaming doesn't respect source material. They'll recast, reboot, reshoot until the IP is as rotten as a jack-o'-lantern in December. The Witcher isn't just losing viewers, it's losing belief. And once that's gone, no marketing can bring it back. Disney and Marvel aren't just struggling in 2025, they're in a freefall. Captain America, Brave New World stumbled out of the gate in February, 5 credited writers, endless reshoots, barely broke even. Then came Thunderbolts in May, 88% on Rotten Tomatoes, and somehow one of the lowest grossing Marvel films in history. It needed $425 million to break even. It made $382. Snow White lost over $100 million. Tron Ares lost $100 million. Fantastic Four, First Steps, made a modest profit, but should have been a cultural phenomenon. Instead, it was just another Marvel movie in a year full of them. And it's not just the box office. Pixar laid off 175 employees, 14% of their workforce in May 2024, right before Inside Out 2 became a massive hit. Then Disney kept cutting. 200 ABC News employees in March 2025, hundreds more across film and TV, all while Disney's revenue is up 3%, and Bob Iger's compensation hit $41 million. That's the problem. Disney's making money, but not from movies. Theme parks are breaking records. Streaming finally turned profitable, but theatrical, collapsing. They're cutting jobs in the division that's supposed to be their cultural engine while paying executives record salaries. Blade? Still in development hell with multiple directors walking away. The entire MCU slate is delayed or reworked. Here's what the 80s understood. Respect the craft and the audience will show up. Back to the Future wasn't designed by algorithm. Die Hard wasn't built from a flowchart. Aliens didn't have a diversity consultant making sure every beat hit the approved notes. These films work because writers, directors, and studios trusted the process. Character first, story second, spectacle third. Now, studios greenlight projects based on insular ideas completely disconnected from what audiences want. They're not listening to fans. They're not even listening to their own talent. Henry Cavill tried to tell them. Audiences are screaming it. But Hollywood's too busy patting itself on the back while the theaters sit empty. Every one of these failures ties back to the same thing. Modern Hollywood forgot how to create culture. The 80s built icons. The 90s built legends. Today's industry builds content. And the audience can smell the difference. Like a week-old fish rotting in the trash can. Content is disposable. Content is algorithm approved. Content checks boxes, fills quotas, gets written up in Variety, and dies. It trends for 48 hours on social media like a TikTok dance, then vanishes. It's digital junk food. But culture lasts. Culture creates fandoms that span generations. Culture makes people care enough to argue about it 20 years later. And caring is the one thing you can't manufacture. You earn it through character, through story, through respect for the audience. Hollywood stopped earning it. They started demanding it. And now they're paying the price. The talent's still out there. The audiences are still hungry. Writers, directors, and actors are out there who could make something great tomorrow if given the chance. But studios need to relearn the basics. Characters first, story second, aesthetics third, messaging last. That's how we got Ghostbusters, Back to the Future, Die Hard, Aliens. Not from algorithms, not from focus groups, not from producers who think franchise potential is a genre. From writers who understood human beings and directors who knew how to put a story on a screen. It's not complicated, it's just hard. And modern Hollywood would rather take the easy route. Throw money at IP, hire the safest choice, design by committee. Blame the audience when it fails. If Hollywood wants to survive, they need to stop trying to fix the past and start learning from it. Stop greenlighting projects based on whatever bubble you're living in. Stop assuming the brand will carry you. Stop calling your audience toxic when they reject what you're selling. Build a character people love. Tell a story people remember. Make something that matters. Until then, expect more cancellations, more collapses, and more reminders that we used to know how to do this. The golden age isn't dead. It's just waiting for Hollywood to remember what made it golden.
I'll be back.